highlighting how Trip didn't make the payments, right? We're hiring all of these people. We know other people that operate like that, don't we, right? You hire them, you don't pay them. You fire them and say, oh, you didn't do the job adequately, and then you fire them and you don't pay them, but you take all the free work, right? Some people sadly work like that in life, and that, my friend, that karma comes back big time. But the main topic that I wanted to cover today, not to go too much off topic, I'm jumping back and forth between the Trip live feed and then the main topic that I set up for today is how much do you tip the delivery person during the coronavirus pandemic? That's the food delivery person. How much do you tip the driver that's actually still taking riders, let's say, to a hospital or picking up nurses, right? There's very, very few riders in the field. They obviously are extremely desperate for money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. They didn't sign up for food deliveries, which I've suggested 100 times. You sign up on multiple food delivery platforms. You should be on Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash, Instacart. I don't know how I feel about Uber Eats. I mean, wouldn't really go back to them after, you've been once bitten, twice shy. Once you've been, screwed over in the first place. I don't know if I'd really go back to Uber Eats. Reinhard says hello and good morning. Thank you. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. We're on 6. We've got 31 people in the house. There's several live feeds going on at the moment. The one is Taha Abbasi talking about Trip. A lot of people are in that room right now. I'm going to try and amplify their story by including that, so we'll jump over there just now. But El Chapo, Trip is dead. They need to file for bankruptcy. Well, I'm sure they will be filing for bankruptcy, but in between, you're going to try and have to get your hands on money, right? You're going to have to try and see how you can recover the money. The number one tip I can give any drivers: turn to your bank and initiate a chargeback, right? I heard this company is fraudulently collecting monies. I want that money back and initiate a chargeback, right? They drew the money out of my account. They basically said we just had to put the credit card information in to receive some updates. They weren't going to bill. They billed $149. I want the money back. Initiate your chargeback right now, right? If you want to see your money, initiate your chargebacks. Trevino says, I have to email you with another question. Absolutely. Richmond, Virginia in the house. Love and Lights in the house. Romeo's in the house. How are you? Thank you for jumping in here. The money list breaks down what is appropriate to tip service industry workers during the COVID-19 outbreak. Says, dear readers, that's usually the other way around. Normally readers ask me a question, but this time we can figure it out what we can do for each other. While more people are working remotely and avoiding public transportation due to the coronavirus, not everyone has the luxury of working from home. How do you show people in consumer-facing industries that you appreciate all they do? Delivery staff may be busier than usual, but wait staff are going to see their income drop as people stay at home. They say in New York, studies show people tend to tip 15 to 20%. It's often less than that in other parts of the country. The norm, the absolute minimum, the absolute minimum has to be 20% across the board. If you are not guaranteed that, then follow in Tokyo, Japan's footsteps, where they have introduced a hazard pay, right? Tell the companies, turn to Twitter, turn to social media, that they need to include 20% danger pay, right? That the person making the order for food or food deliveries or ordering the rider ordering the driver has to automatically be okay with a 20% hazard pay, right? America is battening down the hatches. Restaurants are closing. Music festivals have canceled. Coachella, for example. Broadway has gone dark. There are lines outside some supermarkets with people on the hunt for fresh fruit and vegetables, cleaning products, hand sanitizer, and yes, oat milk. You can't get toilet roll on Amazon for the love of money. So here's my question. How much should you tip the delivery person or Uber driver during the coronavirus pandemic? They are, after all, potentially putting themselves in harm's way. Potentially, they're definitely putting themselves in harm's way. They're on the front lines. There's no denying that, right? Chris Hollingsworth said, good news. What is the good news? Do share, do share. Mr. Rockin Uduaya says, how are you? Good, I'm well. I'm doing very well. Dennis Torres, beautiful day in Long Beach. Stunning day up here. Kids and they were all outside, sun tanning, soaking up the sun. Dad's inside earning the money. In New York, studies show people tend to tip 15 to 20%. It's often less than that in other parts of the country. Wages are higher in metropolitan areas such as San Francisco, New York, and Seattle, amongst others. Service industry workers may be feeling extra anxious going to work and dealing with members of the public. They are, after all, among those Americans who do not have the luxury of working from home. To quote a slogan of yore from an Irish credit union, every little bit helps. Exactly. You may care more about whether COVID-19, the disease caused the virus, is more deadly than the flu. Worry about how long coronavirus lasts on surfaces, or wonder if recirculated air at 30,000 feet increases your chances of getting risk. I'm turning my gimlet eye to etiquette. My recommendation, tip service industry workers 5% more. If you can afford it, for me, that's 25%. Likewise, if you usually tip 10%, perhaps consider 15%. I'm saying that 25 to 30% is a minimum, an absolute minimum. Scott Brown, beautiful day in San Diego. I do briefly want to jump over to that live feed quickly, just see where they are.
It's something that, everybody has to decide on their own. I'm sharing the facts here. The reason I'm not getting into, I know a lot of people say, how can you say Strip a scam? How can you say that is Strip brainwashing people? Is because I want to make sure that I'm sharing information and evidence.
Call it as it is, man. You're too afraid to call it a scam. It's a scam.
I'm going to go ahead and share information and evidence and let people look at the facts and decide. Yes, I feel scammed. I do feel scammed as an employee of the company. I feel conned, heavily conned. And now I'm being attacked because of it, right? It's unreal when you try to speak the truth of what's happening, right?
You can't be afraid, dude. You got to go in with a club, with a hammer. You got to hammer these guys.
I'm going to go into a few more details.
Ty needs to reach out to all of the YouTubers and ask them to amplify the story.
Being held accountable. What they don't realize is we have overwhelming evidence. This is just
Thanks,
the
Chris.
tip of the iceberg.
Joseph, Aziz, how are you, my friend?
I challenge them to
Abstract Echo, Jimmy's in the house. IQ Boy's in the house. Stunning day. Beautiful day. I think, in California. I don't know. Hope everyone else is
you better find
having a great
where
day.
you can hide from the evidence and justice and truth. There are so many people that are coming out of the weeds to join lawsuits right now that you will have nowhere to run but the prison cell. And even that might be a heaven for you based on what's about to come. It's unreal with the amount of lawsuits.
Paulatrix had just ordered Papa John's. Order was 23, added a tip 662.
Right.
That's wonderful.
We need to serve justice. These people can't go around hurting more and more innocent people. There's no way. This has to stop. And you know what? I have more details that I'm going to share. If you guys want to see some of those details, make sure you ask me questions so I can take the call in that direction and share specific items. There are more and more details that I have that I'm happy to share. There's so much more that
Yeah, hey guys, my haircut, I did it myself. I ordered this big Remington thing with a size 12 millimeter, did that first, and then I did the small one on the side. Pretty slick army cut, takes me way back to the age of 18, 19. Feel young, feel invigorated, feel 19.
They're going to have to change it to triprides.com. I'll make it really big on
Who are you talking about, Dennis?
triprides.com. Why? Because another management stupidity.
Oh, he's on Instagram? Who was that, buddy?
They didn't search before they started their company. They didn't do
Let's call him out.
Google search to see if someone else owned the trademark.
Jimmy Safa's in the house.
Right? Let me just look at the comments here before I get into that.
Oh, Dennis, the scam, yeah. The trip scam.
Go ahead, Tom. I mean, karma is definitely, karma definitely comes back to get you right, your professor, for sure. But we need the help of a lot of people to serve justice and serve the truth. So rideshare professor, people like you, Dustin is driving, and you were out there. Mark, entrepreneur, a lot of you guys, entrepreneur, Kevin, I got your call earlier too, so I'll definitely make sure to return that. We need to be able to, yeah, definitely, rideshare professor, thank you for amplifying it. But we need to get the truth out. We need to get the truth out. Now, no one is saying that the concept and the idea was bad. Rideshare professor, I'm sure you'll agree as well, that the idea for fighting for drivers, the idea for giving 100% off the fare to drivers, and the idea of giving them another option is definitely a great idea. But these guys are so incompetent, in my opinion. Look at this. This is how much time it would have taken. You literally go to Google and you type in this. This is the kind of basic business behavior that they don't do, right? You go to Google and you type trademark search trip, TRYP. And the first thing that pops up on Google says that Wyndham Hotels owns the trademark for trip.
Dennis, which guy are you talking about?
And guess what? Wyndham Hotels end up
Bob
suing
McNulty?
them, and now they're gonna. These guys are so good at spinning the truth. They may talk about this in the call tonight, guys. You know, I'm sorry. I'm gonna just lay it out. I'm telling the truth, and I'm not afraid of you. And neither are the rest of the innocent people that are behind me now. There's so many employees. You know what, Bob, and the rest of you. If you want to try and come after me, let's see. Let's see what happens. I have legal backing. I have the backing of the truth, honesty, and justice, right? You know how they're going to spin this brand name change? The change from the name TRYP to a new name? They're going to say, oh, TRYP never felt good anyway, so we're going to change it to TRIP. They're changing a new logo. They're going to Trip Rides a new logo. They're going to a new website and everything. And it's a two-part move. You have to think for a second. You have to think for a second that is this change just a branding change, or is it also to get away from what we talked about yesterday in the call? Can you link the call where we talked about the refund issue, where it says is it a way to get away from refund? Is it a way to get away from liability and losses? What is it that's really happening?
Yeah, and somebody asked
They put my quote there.
Is in English, and we need to have it in Spanish. We're working on that, guys.
Exactly, Dennis. We're going to club them. We get the hammers and the clubs, jackhammer to the trip headquarters. Watch all the earth to shake up. Then we're going to move in with the big bulldozers and just sweep all the shit out.
If they haven't paid background, if they haven't paid myself, the employees, and many other employees, if they haven't paid my software company, and then
jump back to this thing here quickly. I really want to hear from you what's fair, right? What do you tip? What do you tip food delivery people? What do you tip drivers that are still taking riders around to, hospitals, picking up nurses? How much do you pay them, right? Firstly, standard, there has to be a hazard pay, right? Has to be hazard pay built in there. Right, and then, but beyond that, how much do you pay these guys? By the way, this building here, which they say is the Trip headquarters, there's no one there at Trip. They use this address all the time. There's no single person from Trip, no sign, no nothing. They don't know. So this is the number in Vegas that they try and keep as their office. Doesn't exist. I've been there. No one there. Right, you can go by there. You can go by there today if you want to. No one there. Has to be a forced tip. Has to be. Right? It's not, it wasn't difficult for Dara K to set up a fund for the restaurant workers, right? And have the people ordering the food make a donation to that fund. Once they've made that donation, right, they've already given up money. How much do you think is left for you? That strategy that they put in place is only hurting the delivery people, right? Some restaurant people might be happy, right, that the person who ordered the food is giving them somewhat of a tip, right? And by the way, the restaurant industry sued Uber Eats Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, and all of them the day before yesterday filed a massive suit because what Uber is doing is they're completely gaming it. And this is how they're gaming it. They are upping the rates for the restaurants. They're taking more away from the restaurants, 10 to 40% of that menu items price. They're taking that, forcing the restaurants to give up more than ever, literally extorting them during these pandemic times, right? Because why? Because they're losing the money on the driver side, on the rider side, right? So they are taking more away from the restaurants. The restaurants say, hang on, don't take advantage of us during the pandemic. So they sued them. Uber's okay with that lawsuit because they know, the hearings, the settlements of that lawsuit will only be heard in 2021. They're buying time, right? So they say, let's screw over the restaurants, take as much as we can from the restaurants. We'll face that lawsuit on another day. This is how they always operate. Take, get sued, delay. Take away as much, greed, get sued, delay, 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 right? So all of these lawsuits looming on the horizon. Postmates, DoorDash, Grubhub all work the same way, right? What can we make now in these times? Let's take now. So I'm glad that the restaurants filed that lawsuit. It's a big lawsuit, right? But then on top of that, to sort of cozy back up to the restaurants, Uber says, hey, well, we'll put a fund in place for your restaurant workers, trying to make good, right? Trying to make good with them. And we'll let the person that is ordering the food make a donation to the restaurant workers. The moment that donation goes into that fund, it's already set up, Uber's doing it, it takes away the ability for you, the actual person performing, for you, the actual person delivering on the front lines, to receive their money. You're not getting the money if they are setting up a pathway to make a donation to the restaurant workers, to the restaurant employees, right? It takes away your ability to earn. So the whole system is effed up, especially, with the devious minds of Uber. I'm not sure on what level Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash, and that operate like Uber Eats, but they look at Uber Eats probably and take certain things, knowing that doing certain things will probably get them into a lot of trouble and get lawsuits. Well, guess what? This was a class action lawsuit and it was filed against Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash, all of them, for completely screwing the restaurants over, taking up to 40% of their menu item. If you're taking away 40% from the restaurant's menu item price, what does the restaurant have to do? The restaurant can't create two prices, one online price, on their website and another online price for Uber Eats. No, you can't do that legally. So they have to up the rates to compensate. They have to up their regular food item rates to compensate for what Uber Eats, Postmates, and all of those companies are stealing from them, right? Because they're just upping it up to about 40%, from 25 to 40%. There's suicide for a lot of restaurants. They can't survive on that. The ethics of this company are disgusting, right? And you got to watch my video in the other channel at the Rideshare Drivings. I made a video about Dara. You look at how the character grew up, and you will understand how he is wired this way. You'll understand how Travis and Dara operate. Same breed. They're the exact same breed. I have 16 thumbs up. If we can get that up, at least up to 30, that would be great. I do want to jump back into this live feed for a few seconds. And by the way, Bob McNulty sends out the CEO of Trip. He's desperate. He's scared. He says enough lies. He says Trip Ride CEO Bob McNulty is hosting a special call to set the record straight against Taha Bassi. They are stressing out that the guy left with all of the information is holding the mirror up, right? He will go over what really happened with Taha Bassi leaving Trip, not what Taha is saying, right? What really happened with the tech not working. Why are you trying to justify why the tech is not working? You promised a launch in 2018. You then promised a launch at the end of 2018. You promised a launch in the beginning of 2019. You then did a big Miami launch and said the tech was going to be working mid 2019. End of 2019, you scramble up to New York, to East Coast, to screw more people over still. And now you are trying to explain what really happened with the tech not working. You're also trying to explain why Trip didn't launch. Trip didn't launch in 2018. Trip didn't launch in 2019. Trip still hasn't launched in 2020. So you cannot believe a single word out of this individual's mouth. Nothing. The call details, right, when tonight, if people are interested, I'm going to try and broadcast it. It's going to be 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can go directly to Zoom or join us on the Facebook. What is the Zoom account? Let me just, if people want to listen in. What is the Zoom? So here on the Zoom, I can leave that gateway for you. Trip CEO Bob McNulty responds to ex-CTO Taha Bassi, right? They scared. They running scared, ladies and gentlemen. They petrified, right? They are scared. Let's go briefly back into that live feed.
To add to that, if they haven't paid, let's go ahead and take a look at this email that we have.
Hammer.
Just 1 second, guys. I'm pulling up the email. My screen's on the left side here.
Thor's in the
There's
house.
an email that was sent from the previous
Echo. Oh yeah, echo on that other one. Thank you, Mark, for giving me the hours on the other one. I know there's an echo there.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here again, guys, so you can see this. And this will answer your question about the Miami Dolphins, right? This is the previous software house. So you think that, a lot of people are saying, oh man, they paid Taha some money and he didn't deliver. Well, what about all the rest of the people? Just put the dots together. You gotta get these people, justice has to be served. What about Mac App Studio? Let's look at these guys, right? So I'm gonna zoom into this a little bit so you guys can see easily. So take a look at this. Right here, this is an email on July 2nd that was sent over to, who are all the people this was sent to? This was sent to Jeff Aronson, Jeff at Trip Rides, sent to Bob. They tried to send it to all these emails to try to get an answer. They emailed a bunch of other people that weren't even at the company anymore. And what they were trying to do is right here. Take a look at this. And I'll kind of show how Bob responds to people too. This is really, really good. Let me go down here because this will show you the kind of bully behavior that goes on.
This is a bully. Anytime you attack him, anytime you out a bully, they go on the offensive. They get very, very aggressive. It's a typical narcissistic behavior.
Driver, and they show the videos. Oh yeah, right here. So this is an email that was sent out to, they actually copied me on this too, unreal. So he says, kindly take a few minutes to read this email, right? He says, Mac App Studio had developed, this is the previous software company.
Hey, Manali.
Not me. Hey, Greg, what up, my man?
They aren't scared at all? Who's not scared?
Greg,
Taha Bassi?
check this out. You're going to love this.
Or Trip?
Rideshare Professor, make sure you highlight this specific part. For people that are saying that they only screwed over me, they screwed over way more people. And these people are screwed worse than I am. So this is a guy that's saying he's a previous software developer for Trip Rides before I came on board. And his name is George. His company is Mac App Studio. It says Mac App Studio had developed the end-to-end Uber platform for Trip with wonderful customization, especially for Trip, like favorite driver. Look at the date for this, guys. This is dated July 1st, 2019. 2019. Right? On July 1st, 2019, they say
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Allentown, Tony.
built the app essentially, and these are the timelines when the project started. So they started working. This is something that a lot of you guys will know about. I'll zoom into this. Right? The project started with Mac App Studio in October of 2019.
Well, the court system, the problem is payment. You can't even get to court, right? Like the earliest trials I have.
Delivered the first
I have attorney friends, their earliest trials are in September. You can't get into court. So like all of the companies are buying a lot of time, right? Uber is loving it. Uber's loving the fact that the courts only open up in September. Trip is loving it, that nothing can really be heard. So they win a lot of time to cover all their tracks. But if you walk out with all the evidence, these guys have everything. They walked, they did a information dump, they put everything on their drives, right? All you need is this, 2 terabyte. You dump all your information, every little thing, you plug it into their system and transfer the files at night. You walk out, right? Been there, done that. I had to do that with a company in California. Overnight, I went into the office late, downloaded everything. This is years back. I won that lawsuit. But you have to have the evidence, and they got the evidence. They made sure they transferred all the files.
The same thing they do again and again is they keep getting people to work, telling them they're going to pay them, and then they don't pay them. And why do you think drivers are going to be any different? Why do you think they're going to treat, like, these are companies that at least have employees and have lawyers and can fight. How do you think drivers are going to be different? Right? Nick, what do you want to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the point of, if they're not paying vendors, if they're not paying employees, if they're not paying the dolphins, background checks, if they're not paying...
They're talking about a pattern here, right? They hire all of these companies, they let them do all the work, they don't pay them, they don't pay them, they don't pay them. The phone start, hey, we want to get paid, we want to get paid, we want to get paid. This guy starts filing the lawsuit, this guy. Your pack of cards eventually come down because you can't keep up with all the bullshit that you've put out there, right?
They're going to get back to, we'll do it later, like it's the same thing when people say, I'll give back when I'm rich, It's like, no, you can't think like that.
And I'm not saying right now that you shouldn't hear both sides.
Rick Nelson says, Trip sounds like LEEP in San Antonio, Texas. Basically, they promised themselves about $2 million in startup capital. Then, with drivers trying to sign up, Leap said they were having technical problems. Taryn Locke, it's BS.
That's his statement saying that he is no longer going to deal with Trip because he wasn't paid and he was upset at how all these promises were broken.
Hey, Dustin just joined. Dustin is driving. Hey, what's up, Dustin? Thanks for joining us.
Dustin, my man, how are you? So let me go ahead and pull this up here again. So this is a really important part to check over here is he's asking, so if you look at this email history, I'm going to go and find Bob's response to this. I hope it's in here. Let's see. I think Bob responds to him a little bit up above. Yeah, so right here he's saying this, guys, this is heartbreaking. Look at this. He says, there's the rest of the email that you can read in the video later by pausing it, right? He says, we are a startup company. Now, this is
in the room right now.
House, not my software development house that they hired after I got on board. We are a startup company. Just like you, and the pending payments of over 100,000 hurt us like it would hurt.
Stick it to him, Dustin. Exactly, Dustin's out there brawling. We're brawling.
Innocent families, depending on our company.
Bob McNulty's done. He's fried. Rhett McNulty is done. He's fried. Eric, con artist, is done. Bishop, con artist, is done. They fried. They finito.
Like, what part of this is not coming together? This is a crooked behavior that's happening here, guys. It's just unreal. Send letters to Bob. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jeff. Appreciate that.
Dennis says, Professor, Uber tips for COVID-19 found is just another way for Uber to steal more earnings.
They keep selling
the rat.
But this is factual information. You can call up this guy if you want to hear this.
How do we
ask him, right? These guys are honest, hardworking people that were not paid. And this is not the only company. So I was talking about the Miami Dolphins. Let me talk about that. So if they haven't paid
what about the Miami?
a previous software vendor, and then if they haven't paid, the customer care company, as you can see right here, and then they haven't paid, the background check company. Here's the customer care company. They haven't paid that. They haven't paid the background check company. What do you think is going to happen to when drivers have to get paid?
Dustin says, I hope you guys recoup some kind of money from Trip. Probably won't, though. Yeah, you're probably right. We probably won't because there's from what we can see, there's nothing there. Again, I want to reiterate that's not why we're doing this. We're not doing this so we can. There's nothing to gain monetarily. And I hope people can get their money back, you know, for their influencer fees and their driver related fees and things like that. But only time will tell.
This is really emotional, guys. Like
Michael Patton says, every delivery person who comes to my house during this time, I give $100. Bless you, sir. I hope that's a fact. But if you do that, you're an amazing individual. You understand the value. That's awesome of you, Michael Patton. Send Michael Patton a lot of love. Send him a lot of love because that's a person stepping up. What city are you in, Michael Patton? What services do you use? I've spoken to drivers who say people are stiffing them. Send him a lot of heart and love to Michael Patton and let us know, Michael, which services you order on. Because that's stepping up, my friend, big time. Chicago, sending much love to Chicago. The generosity of Mr. Patton, much appreciated. That's what drivers appreciate. Instacart, Grubhub, Amazon. We salute you, sir.
That'd be great. Send us where
Thank you.
the video it is that they say that, because I know they said it numerous times, but we can play a clip of that and then show that email.
This has to come out, and it's like a lot of people have talked about a lot of people have talked about that. Why didn't you come out earlier? Why didn't you see this? Why speak now?
Mark Roughton says he'll come and deliver for you. Hey, Mark Roughton's in Vegas. He's going to go start delivering for Michael in Chicago. Yeah, at least Michael knows how to appreciate drivers and take care of them during the pandemic and appreciates people on the front line. It's drizzly over here. I could send you tons of sunshine. It's so warm outside that the kids are lying outside and sun tanning with the bikinis and everyone here.
Kept secret from me as a C-level executive. So if he can be a little bit kinder, and that goes for a lot of
in the rideshare driving school, the other channel that I'm busy live on as well. I'm live in 2 channels right now, back to back, because I need hours. Thank you to the one person that's in the other feed sticking it out. I appreciate you.
It's hurtful to a lot of people out there that we're just trying to seize an opportunity. So I think we should try to curb that a little bit.
And absolutely, Justin, we appreciate saying that. We're definitely here to expose what's going on, and we need help because our voices alone aren't going to do it. Like we're getting right now, guys. Whatever they say on the call tonight, try to attack me. Trust me, you have no idea how much more evidence I have. Like we have people literally every day in the morning we wake up and we have missed calls from people who are coming out, past employees, past vendors, investors who put in money. There's so many people coming together and to serve justice, and prison is, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so close.
They can't see the cards we're holding and they're playing checkers on the chessboard.
And Rideshare Professor, I'm going to address your point earlier a little bit when you were talking about, don't share all your cards. Imagine these are just the cards I'm showing on the screen publicly. You cannot imagine the amount of stuff that I have that's going to help serve justice for drivers. These guys have no idea, and we'll look at some of this. In fact, let's look at the past history. Like what's being done here is exactly, when you look at the past. I'm going to pull this up.
That's a good point that Taha brings up. I said to him, Taha, don't show them all the cards, right? Because you're showing them a lot, right? But the bottom line is, I like the way he replies back to me. He says, look, we have so much more. What we're showing now is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So that to me shows that they literally took everything. They took every bit of communication when they walked out the door. When they left that office that morning and left with the hard drive, they had everything on it, ladies and gentlemen, everything they need to sink this company. So there's no way you as a Robert McNulty or Rhett McNulty and Eric are going to survive that, right? Because information just drips out there. They could do live feed after live feed after live feed, just showing letters, emails, backing up their evidence. These guys are fried toast. So when you have Bob McNulty trying to come out with a
I feel so dumb for not seeing this stuff earlier, because I was so focused on building for drivers, so focused on going out and learning what the drivers' needs are. right? Where does one look up details about
Here.
stock Nevada?
You have this email by Bob McNulty. He goes, enough lies. Trips Ride CEO Bob McNulty is hosting a special call to set the record straight on. He thinks he's going to set the record straight on Taha Bassi. After he did all of this information dumping, exposing Bob for who he is. So he says he will go over what really happened with Taha Bassi leaving Trip, not what Taha is saying. I'll tell you what really happened with Taha. He was starting to pay your bills, and he walked out with all the evidence in the world that he needed, right? You can't acknowledge that. You're trying to fight that. And then what really happened with the tech not working, you promised that the tech would be working in 2018. We're in 2020. So you look like a fool if you try to explain why the tech's not working in 2018, why the tech's not working in 2019, why the tech is not working in 2020. As Real Rideshare Story says, karma. It's not a good idea to screw with 4 million Uber drivers. It's not a good idea to screw with 2,000 Trip drivers. You're gonna come off second best, my friends. And then he's also going to explain why Trip didn't launch. People are not interested why Trip didn't launch. They're not interested in the excuses, right? They know who you are. You didn't launch in 18, 19, and 20. So why come out now explain? Oh, let me explain why we didn't launch.
This is not this. These people have.
People need money,
right? Thank you. Appreciate it. I think Rideshare Driving School, that has to be the Rideshare professor. Appreciate you amplifying this. The truth has to come out. The truth has to rule. No, Dustin, I wasn't talking about you being mean in your video or not. I was just saying that the problem is, man, right now there's a lot of people being hurt because, for some of these people, it just, this was all
trying to look for the video.
And they put it into something that they believed in, and I know a lot of these people attack results, but it comes down to the smarter people to help support. You guys are right in this sense. Like a lot of you who saw it, like I'm really questioning my judgment of character right now because I believed in a lot of this, right? And it's the same thing that Greg talked about, is that it's not so much being about dumb, but it's just, it feels like, man, we wish that it worked out because it was a good idea from a standpoint of helping drivers, right? So let me look at what else you guys are saying in the comments. Yeah, it's correct, Greg. Like the idea of the trip, the idea of the community, the idea of drivers first, the idea of drivers working together to fight for their rights wasn't wrong at all. Like
that's why I joined the company.
Right.
I was really enjoying my life in Alaska before I got this call, and it took a lot of deliberation for me to want to join this company, but having considered my previous background in the rideshare industry with driving, I mean, I saw these flaws with the other two major giants a long time ago, and I was trying to figure out, like, how much are these guys taking?
Hammer.
That's why I joined the
Mark
company.
Roughton has an endless supply of hammers. I love it. I know who to go for the Thor hammer. If my Thor hammer ever breaks, I can run to Mark Roughton and get fresh hammers.
I just wanted to believe in a bigger cause,
Anita, it totally feels like betrayal. I mean, I was in tears.
Mark Roughton, Trip. Poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji. Dara, poop emoji. Poop emoji, poop emoji. Common denominators is poop.
But check this out. There's another video.
It's a good mathematic equation.
And this is gonna blow your mind. Like, look at the kind of stuff that's being peddled around. So I'm gonna play this video.
First, let's touch on like what did Bill Crosby say in the last video that they on the last Thursday night call? It was, we're full steam ahead. Everything's good to go. We're ahead of schedule. Just let that resonate in your mind while you're watching this.
Right. Let me go ahead and play this.
Who's this character?
1 second, guys. I'm gonna pull it up here.
This was the day before we both decided we were done. This was.
Oh, hold on. First, I'm gonna play the rest of this video, which, for those of you who haven't seen it, check this out. This is the stance where they talk about if you're not being paid, they keep working, right? And then I'll bring up Bill Crosby's video as well. So take a look at this, guys, and then I'm gonna switch over to the other video as well. So here we go.
The only good part about it that is if we don't pay and that they keep working. The only good part about it that is if we don't pay.
We don't pay.
And that they keep working.
And they keep working.
The only good part about it that is if we don't pay and that they keep working. The only
You look
good
like an
part
arsehole,
about
dude.
that is
This guy looks like an
don't
arsehole. The only good thing is
they keep working.
we don't pay and they keep
The
working.
only good part about it that is if we don't pay.
And if you guys look at that comment, look at this is how can you say you want to see the side of the truth? I'm not speaking that. I didn't say that. That's said by the chief operating officer of the company. It's in fact, let me play another video right now. Hold on, check this out. Let's get into this.
You look like total fools, Rhett. You look like an arsehole. In South Africa, you'd get a good slap, good puss clap. Look it up, puss clap. Look it up.
That's the channel.
Yeah.
No.
Look that up. That's what we hand out in South Africa, puss claps.
Here it is. I'll play this. So right around here. Look at this, guys, on the screen right now.
Chargeback, you're only risk a chargeback over 6 months. So after they get, you can't make a chargeback after 6 months.
See, scared.
The bank doesn't honor it. So after they get, you can't make a chargeback after 6 months. The bank doesn't honor it. So after they get, you can't make a chargeback after 6 months. The bank doesn't.
You can't see.
This is not me talking. You cannot. How can you still say I need to see both?
See, they're not worried about the chargeback, so they say because after 6 months you can't do a chargeback anymore. So take the money. As long as we've got the money in our possession for 6 months, Rhett, and you're gonna go down, dude. You're going down. I'm gonna make effing sure you go down, Rhett, because you screwed with the wrong people. That's why.
And I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying at all. I believe that the transparency of finances has been completely non-existent. It's not entirely uncommon in companies. My wife is a VP at McDonald's. She has no idea what's going on with finances, right?
This is how clueless these guys are. Look at this for a second. I'm gonna play that part again where he says.
Yeah, Trip is down. Trip is setting up fictitious fronts all over. Fictitious fronts in Vegas, fictitious front in California, fictitious front in Miami, fictitious front on the East Coast.
The drivers are paying, the investors are putting in. Nobody knew. Not the executives. I, as a CTO, didn't know. He had no clue, which he talks about later. And then he goes on and says that.
This is how fraudsters talk, because they know how to defraud people.
His wife's work, she doesn't know.
Eddie Cuevas, I smell a lawsuit coming.
Look at this.
You're right, buddy.
Share the link to this right now. McDonald's is a publicly traded corporation. If I search McDonald's,
Payman Ali, that's okay. It's too depressing. I'm going to check out for a while. I understand, but you have to do this, right? If you want to win the battle, you got to expose the truth. It's depressing because it's not truth, right? They're not operating in the field of truth, Trip. So you have to, unfortunately, expose it. It's not fun, but it has to be done.
Let's watch the rest of this video.
So, but I have been extremely dissatisfied with what is being told to us, and it's been very frustrating for me as well. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't believe that that's the best methodology to try to fix it. And I know that Grant's called me a couple of times as well, just kind of checking my pulse on things and saying, hey, what do you see that's going on? I would actually probably think that David would be more of an advocate than you think.
Yeah, Eddie, we're exposing them. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. We get hustle guy. Plus, if they get away with it now, then a whole host of people will get away with it later. Yeah, you got to get clarity right now, right? So people know that they cannot get away with this type of stuff in the future.
Because now's a better time than ever. We're about to go under. As far as I understand at this point, we are a sinking ship right now. And unless somebody wants to present a different case, I can tell when we're a fucking sinking ship. I've been down this road before. And, it is part of what happens when you operate in startup environments. So for those that have not been through this before,
Wow.
this is what it feels like, right?
This is what it feels like.
And I can see it in your faces, guys. This is a tough thing. It really is. I would, personally like to body slam some people in the company right now, and you probably know who I'm talking about. Okay, and I don't necessarily disagree with the changes that you're talking about either. I think that would be a very hard conversation with some of those.
Is he still there?
Particular, so I'm not sure even how to broach that. And I don't really have a good sense because I haven't talked to Rep. Actually,
guys, this is like understand what's going on here, right? This video was taken a day before we decided to resign because of some of the stuff that went down and how no changes were made. We started to find out all this stuff about how vendors weren't paid, how customer care wasn't paid, how insurance wasn't paid.
Vendors wasn't paid, insurance wasn't paid, people weren't paid. So they.
Our faces. This is when we realize, like
you'll see our faces later in the video too, and it, talk about like what little bit of context as to what led to this call at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we started to see that a lot of these vendors weren't getting paid, and we
Yep.
started connecting.
Then the alarm bells go on. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
It just that was a really deflating moment for everybody to realize what Bill just said, which is completely contrary to what he's been saying in the last couple videos about how we're, this fake sense of chipperness, like about how we're like ahead of schedule.
Yeah, Michael, it's a knockoff of Uber and Lyft, but it's set up as a Ponzi scheme, as an MLM. They're using multi-level marketing, and multi-level marketing does not go. Multi-level marketing, you have to have a product that you can offer, right? A product that you can use, whether it's supplements, whether it's Herbalife, whether it's proteins, whatever it is, right? Toothpaste, whatever. But what they try to do in order to get a lot of viral publicity, they turned it into an MLM, right? And because they started to get shut down in certain areas, they'd hop from Vegas to California, to Florida, to New York, because it was always catching up with them. And nothing happened. They've been singing and dancing since 2018.
Probably think that David would be more of an advocate.
It's not allowed here in California, MLM rideshare, exactly.
But, if we want to have a hard conversation of like, hey guys, this shit's got to fucking stop.
This shit's coming down, boy.
Then let's have that conversation with them.
Rhett and Bob, like literally
let's
soiling right now, soiling, afraid. Right?
As far as I understand,
Hope I don't catch that guy out in Santa Monica on the streets. I know what he looks like.
Sinking ship right
Get a good South African puss clap.
And unless somebody wants to present a different case, I can tell when we're fucking sinking ship. I've been down this road before,
I know.
It is part of what happens.
It's part of
operating startup environment.
It's part of a startup. It's not, right?
I've been through this before.
Living the lie and faking it.
Right? And I can see it in your faces, guys. This is a tough thing. It really is. I would, personally like to body slam some people in the company right now, and you probably know who I'm talking about. Okay.
Who do you guys think he's talking about right now? There's only one person that we were discussing at that point, and that was related to the management issues that were done previously, right? So we were talking about specifically these kinds of behaviors where, commitments were made, there were promises made, and it was like money's coming tomorrow, and bills are not paid. No one knows. Even he didn't know.
The shit's gonna hit the fan, or the fit is gonna hit the shan.
He's talking about Bob. It's evidently clear. And then, in front of you guys, he's pretty buddy-buddy, right?
Is there a way we can share the Zoom link?
Yeah, we can definitely share that, guys. Let's stream that live and call their BS out live while they're doing that. And you know what they're going to do now that they know they're doing this, and this will be another tell of the nonsense. They're probably going to try to close it up with a password. It'll just share exactly the kind of nonsense that's happening. If someone that has, I don't get the emails from Trip anymore because they've knocked me out. You get them?
Yeah, I got them.
Oh, okay, yes.
They don't know what name I'm using, but I'm in there.
Oh my God, it's cold as hell. So let's stream that shit and just serve some justice, call out their BS as it is, right? So there's a lot of material in this video that Rideshare Professor, you should talk about too over here. So let's kind of watch the rest of this. Where in this video, this is before we resigned, we were actually talking about the issues and looking at how to solve them. Now he's going to claim that he was doing this related to the Rideshare Professor second channel. Sweet. Guys, if you haven't followed it, make sure you go and follow the
Thank you.
Rideshare Driving School.
Yep.
That's Rideshare Professor second channel.
Follow Rideshare Driving School, Rideshare Professor.
And also Dustin is driving.
This is Greg. You know, all these guys are.
Make sure you check them out. They're gonna help. They're gonna help get the word out. This is Dustin is driving. He'll show up on the screen here in a second as well. So make sure that you guys follow these channels. It's really important that drivers are protected, because otherwise they're gonna keep getting taken advantage of. So let's go ahead and watch the rest of this video. There's gold in here, and including Eric actually comes on later. So a lot of you, Eric is probably telling right now that, hey, everything is great. He comes on later so you can make a decision for yourself as to what the reality is.
And I don't necessarily disagree with the changes that you're talking about either. I think that would be a very hard conversation with some of those, with one in particular, you know. So I'm not sure even how to broach that. And I don't really have a good sense, because I haven't talked to Grant for a while, and in terms of what our current issues are with raising funds. But clearly, there's something.
Haven't heard of Zero or Zero Rideshare.
Because we've just been down this road so many times with so many.
They're in San Francisco?
Real
Yeah, please give us feedback on Zero.
Last minute.
I'll check them out.
So, I mean.
But I would
not sure
question
if
why
that's
any company would want to launch during a pandemic. I mean, this is for some,
combination of all those things.
they definitely could get their
But
word
it's really
out
nice to know.
and win a lot of like bonus
We
points.
just don't even know.
Get
I
ready
feel
for a
like
launch maybe after the pandemic,
run
but
around on things.
it's interesting that companies are launching in these times.
Again, guys, like this is my frustration right now, right? It's like if you guys heard that, and I'll play this part again, and I'll come just that part about like the investors. Listen to this part real quick, and we'll comment on it.
Big time in the way. Because I haven't talked to Grant for a while, and in terms of what our current issues are with raising funds. Clearly, there's something big time in the way. I mean, clearly, because we've just been down this road so many times with so many, real investors that have pulled at the last minute.
Yeah, investors
So,
do their homework, their due diligence. That's what it's
Look
about.
at this nonsense, guys.
He's saying we don't understand why we can't get money, like why we're having such a hard time generating funding from legitimate investors, and he says clearly there's something big in the way. I just don't know what it is. Clearly, it's like, well, we knew what it was. It's a ridiculously high valuation that they've assigned to the company.
And worse so, how Bob treated those investors. Let's pull up that, like all of this stuff. Like this is evidence being shared right now. So I'm gonna pull up the email right now. If you see me going left and right, it's because I have one screen here, guys, one screen there. So bear with me a little bit as I do this. I'm gonna pull up the email that Bob sent to an investor right here. It's like, why are investors running away? We don't understand why investors are running away. Well, buddy, when you call investors who ask you questions about your company, when you call them an asshole, I don't think they would want to invest in your company. Right? I mean, what do you think? If you're, guys, what do you think? Would you invest money in a company whose CEO and founder is calling you an asshole? Because why? Because you are claiming on, this is insane. Talk about the Apple thing here in a second. Is on April 24, 2019, this is last year when Trip didn't have an app, didn't have any pathway to produce, and hadn't made payments towards the development house.
No, he has
His
nothing
payroll
to be
employees
afraid
was
of.
telling investors
I doubt that
they
he
were
has a
gonna make
confidentiality agreement. These people are too
$447
stupid
million in
to even set up.
2019
They've already breached
That's why investors
the
are
name,
running away.
copyrighted.
You know what-
They've breached
what
the name
kind of
Trip.
effort it takes
They've
to make
breached.
$247
This is how they operate. They don't care about the law. So he'll win all day long with the evidence. He has nothing to worry about with
4 years
walking out
to
with all the
$100
evidence.
million
Nothing at all.
annual revenue. 4 years to get to 100 million compared to 250 million. Like,
This is one of the largest companies in the world, Apple, right? It's $1
Are
trillion.
you too afraid,
company
Philip?
that
Why are you
at many
afraid?
points had
Sorry,
more
I
cash
can't be
reserves than
exposed.
the
It's too
United
much for you?
It took them
Can't
4
handle it?
years
Can't handle
to
the
get
truth,
to
Philip?
over
Come on,
100
man.
million.
You're better than
And
that.
Bob is out there claiming
Seriously?
to investors. This is the email that Bob sent to investors right here. Bob McNulty sending it to an investor.
You can't
that
handle the
our
truth.
company's out 80 million because we're going to make $247
God, Philip,
million
thought you were a
in the-
warrior, dude.
Like what kind?
You don't
of,
have
like,
the
this
balls
is
to stand up
insanity.
to this
That's why
bullshit.
people are
Really?
not investing in you because your
So I'm out of
valuation is
here.
insane and you're making insane claims. Let's go back
Have
to
a
the
great
video,
stream
guys.
and be
we'll
safe.
explain this to Bill here.
Dude, you got to stand up, man.
The
You
Bill
can't-
doesn't know
you
about
can't
this because Bob and
walk
Jim
away
work
when
together
the going
in
gets
silence.
tough.
So now
You gotta
we're
rise to
telling
the
Bill about
occasion.
this because I found out through my relationship with our vice president of investor relations.
And, I mean, I'm not sure if that's Bob or if that's something else, if it's the MLM, if it's a combination of all those things. But it'd be really nice to know. We just don't even know.
If you're not cut out for this type of stuff, my friend, then don't make a rideshare channel. If you're not prepared to talk about the good and the bad, don't make a rideshare channel. Right?
Yeah, and I'm aware of that.
And then
Okay.
the reasoning behind that valuation,
The reasoning behind
Exactly.
like why it
This
can't
is
go forward and what-
this is borderline. This is racketeering what they're doing here. So
I don't know. I don't know.
you need to read the Reiki laws. These guys are racketeering, man.
raising significant or whatever
Won't hold up.
good at a valuation of close to-
Judges, the courts will want to see every single document. So he has nothing to worry about.
Close to $30 to
Right.
$35 million for a company has no revenue, and there are contracts with 58 plus people on the cap table that say if they do get valued into a valuation that the company is actually worth right now, we will owe them money back.
That guy has to be exposed, Jimmy.
There are other factors. that
And
we
it's
talk
not-
about
it's not fun.
This is where
Guys, so
It's like
talking,
it's
online
like
technical
Uber,
issue, I think Anita
who's made the
too.
promises
Anita, the question
on
you asked
masks,
about why
gloves,
Bob
supplies,
didn't fund the company himself,
and they
I
didn't
actually
come.
Talk about it
Right?
in
They're not
the
coming.
video later. So
The
make sure
merchandise
that
is
you
not
set that up.
coming,
We had the same
right?
question as to
So you're
why
making the
Bob
promises,
didn't fund the company
all these
himself,
promises,
why
right?
he had to pay
People
a
are
lot of
relying
money
on
to
this.
the
This is life and death for
David
people.
Mata
Life and
actually
death. They're
did
waiting
what
for this.
I know that in
Promises.
fact David Mata
And it doesn't come.
what he
You
told
have to
me,
expose that.
$65,000 for the event.
You have to
I
talk
didn't
about
know
that.
the cost. Bob,
You can't put your tail between your legs and walk out. Come on, man. Wong, you're disappointing me here, buddy. Seriously. Thought you had a little bit of a fight in you.
The evidence doesn't really implicate David that much.
It doesn't. There's nothing in the evidence material that we've seen that says that David Mata was the one that was behind these things. And that's something that I was asked before too. Why am I not calling out David Mata? Is because I am not going to go behind and after people for justice if I don't have evidence to back it up.
And the fact is he spent tens of thousands of dollars on that Miami launch event. But you know who didn't? So
Rob Ricker
In fact, I remember
show
that.
that's
I'm
what
gonna
has
share
to
my
happen.
screen on this.
All of us
You guys
rideshare
wanna
workers
talk about
need to
the
get
Miami
together
launch
and
event
create a
for second?
union.
So take a look
That's
at
the
this.
only
I'm
way
gonna
these
share my
problems are
screen
going
on,
to get resolved. Otherwise, everyone will continue to get exploited.
Let me see here.
You know, whether it's called
In the Miami
a
launch
union
event,
or an
a lot of
umbrella
people
organization, but it would be
Miami
great.
paid our
It
commission.
would be great.
And this
I'm
is
trying to
so
speaking out
still
loud
the same.
here, right?
This
You got
goes
Gig
back
Workers
to
United,
why
you got Mobile Alliance, you got Rideshare Drivers United. If all of these bodies could talk to each other, right, and form one powerful body that's backed by the social media where people like Dustin, myself, and all the others can start getting people into one umbrella organization, then you become powerful, extremely powerful, strength in numbers, right? Even talking to our brothers and sisters, like I have contacts that I've built up. The one thing I do in any business is I nurture my contacts. So I have contacts in Amsterdam, I have contacts with Uber in Germany, I have contacts in South Africa, I have contacts in Australia, I have contacts, getting them all on board. These are people that email me or call me or FaceTime me or Skype me, getting them all on board and say, listen, got to work together here and all come under one umbrella organization.
Bob officially has, right? So take a look at this, guys. This is the event from Miami and the earnings from the event. I hope I can make this landscape mode.
I don't think
It won't work, right? Okay. So hopefully
Another powerful move, listen to this, is
Saturday, August
as a shareholder, even if you own one share, you have a voting right. So if every driver worldwide would just buy one share at the lowest point, let's say it goes down to 15, and everybody buys one share. Well, guess what? When there's a board meeting and you have, you can voice, you go into these online environments and you can only participate because you're a shareholder, you then have collective power. So let's say you have 4 million, 5 million drivers who own one share. Do you know how much collective bargaining power that gives you? Right? You could vote people out.
They can come and learn about Trip, and it was a non-profit event. What did Bob and Jeff do? They ended up using that money for God knows what. We still don't know. And what did David have to do? He had to put in his own money that he told me with his credit card. He had to put $65,000 plus on his credit card.
Yeah, you're right. Wicked hustle guy. You're correct.
Because
you
once
did.
Again, these guys
Remember you saying that.
something in a silo.
Hashtag just saying.
Observation, right? So now,
hashtag just saying.
And a lot of you didn't get paid commissions from this either. So this is insane to see that people like this can continue to go around.
You know who fronted the band's cost? I did. I paid for the band's cost and the music equipment that we used. Like, I bought their dinner. Like, I don't. There's a lot of expenses I haven't been reimbursed for as well. So.
It's just really insane. So we get into some of the other issues. If you guys are interested about Miami, we talk about that over here as well.
You got a proxy statement from Uber? What did it read?
Play this here a little bit. So check it out.
This is where transparency is really important. Everybody in the company should know our financial situation is a last ever fuck. Because we knew as management, and we had options since early December to know that we were about to get fucked. And we did nothing about it. And last night conversation was like, can you fund another $275,000? And if you don't, then we think you're an idiot. Basically, that was the gist of it. And that's unrealistic to expect something.
And who said that to you?
This is the gist of what is required for us to catch up on our bills since August, September. And here's how this comes about. There's no intention to make payment, and there's development's gonna stop. Oh wait, what? We can't believe that's gonna happen. We haven't paid our bills since what do you think is gonna happen, right? And then it comes down to give me just 2 minutes to explain this part so that you get some context. It becomes convenient now to call out conflict of interest, saying, "Oh, you're pulling the strings on both sides." Sure, I can see.
Executive compensation is part of the vote.
This contract back in March, but it wasn't.
If you can text or email me a screenshot of that, that's interesting stuff, Payman. Read that out. It's Moose says, I think California, you have to be recognized as employees by the employer before you can have a union representation.
We started working up until billables were well over.
Well, they're not even classified as an employer,
and then we were wondering why
right?
we were not getting the product.
Yeah, they're employing the engineers, etc. Maybe those guys can get representation, but independent workers.
They're misrepresenting, saying we paid technology $500,000. We don't know why Taha can't do it.
May or may not form as a union. It would be it's a good legal question, but you could still form a powerful organization. If you say, hey, today we decide to walk out, we're not participating in this, just like the Amazon workers did, right? That makes the media. You have more collective power with the media. If you have some sort of all-encompassing umbrella where a couple of million drivers are part of.
Shares issued out for the company, and then when you look at which I did not know. Once I found out, and then we're looking at how much is allocated to people, it is ridiculous with the people that are core to this company. And all of that goes back to the lack of transparency, lack of management. When I came on board,
guys, if you notice, there's a lot covered over there. One of them is the fact that how the whole situation was handled in terms of what they're going to talk about tonight too. Oh, Taha, he has this company.
So yeah, if you guys want to watch that thing, it's on at 6 p.m. Cali time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, where Trip, Bob McNulty. I'm gonna try and get into that Zoom room and broadcast that, because that's going to be interesting to hear the trip story, right? There's going to be a lot of anger. I'll bet you there's going to be a lot of people asking questions, and you'll see how a classic bully handles that stream, because he's the speaker of that hour, of those 2 hours. You're going to hear how he handles a classic bully, how he handles it, right? I think we should amplify that, right? But I sort of drifted, of course. Honestly, the initial intent of my video was to talk about tipping during the pandemic, tipping during the pandemic, and put the question out there: what is a fair percentage that everyone could really agree on as a tip for food delivery people, and then as a tip for drivers still taking riders to, let's say, hospital, picking up a nurse, dropping them off at the hospital. Doesn't mean they walk into the hospital, but they know that the destination is a hospital, and they could ask, oh, are you a nurse? Yeah, I'm on my way to the duty. Okay, so they're taking that person. What should that nurse or what should that doctor tip that driver, right? That person that's on the front line. It's wicked hustle guy, I would say more than 15%. I mean, 20% should be a norm. You know, good service in a restaurant is rewarded with 20%. I would say the starting point should be 30%. 1/3 of that amount, right? It's $21, put $7 down, right? Let them walk out with $28, right? 50% onwards is starting to become generous. We had one gentleman in the house that says he tips up to $100. And that's not a retracted tip. That's not like a promise that you're then retracting 36 hours later, right? Dustin, how are you? New trip update launching 2019. That's Dustin's humor. Trip. This is what Dustin says. Trip launching. Oh my God, that is freaking hilarious. Okay, the new trip launch date, as per Dustin, is 2099. How old am I then? Jesus, will I be alive for that? I don't think so. That's in 70 something years. No ways. I'm not going to turn 120. I mean, they say that the oldest man on earth, they believe he was in Bolivia. They believe he may have reached like 130 or even higher. But there's no way in hell we're going to be around in 2099 unless they make like a bionic AI version of us, or a robot, or they start replacing our liver and our heart with bionic parts. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the medical industry will advance so much that you can just swap parts out, right? You live forever. Who knows? We don't know. Mark Rowell will be 140. We'll be very, very old men going to the launch party. 2099. Prince and the Revolution, 1999. Trip and the Revolution, 2099. Iftikhar Ahmed, is rideshare safe from a public health perspective? No, I wouldn't do it. I would say it's completely unhealthy, and I'm not promoting it here. Chris says, you mean maybe by 2099 we'll have a cure for the common cold? I hope so. That's good. No, but I'm not promoting drivers to go out there on the front lines and drive riders around. I do know that there are some people out there that are desperately still doing this for the money. It's only for the money, right? Not sure why they haven't joined various food delivery companies. Not sure why they haven't joined Amazon instead. Right now it's health over dollars, health over dollars, health over dollars. You've got to put your life first, right? The value of your life surpasses any dollar amount, right? So why go out there and play Russian roulette? Ryan LaGrossa says the revolution will not be delivered. It's a good one. Jimmy Saf, Ifka Ahmed says, so then why doesn't the government shutting it down? because they deem it essential. They're hoping that a couple of fools will still drive, right? Jimmy Suffer, why do we even have to have a discussion about this? It's universal. Everywhere you do in the world, people in the service industry are tipped 20% across the board. The reason why we have to have the discussion is because we're not getting the 20%. So obviously these people don't understand that 20% is a must, right? So we have to make these type of videos, and we do hope that people like Michael early on from Chicago, not a driver, not a food delivery person, he's a person that orders food. He comes into the channel and says, yeah, I agree. You know, people should really be paying right now. So we can convert the thinking of the public, right? That 20% is a starting point. It's non-negotiable. It's absolutely non-negotiable, right? It's non-negotiable that you fake a high tip and then retract it. It's non-negotiable. That's bait and switch, right? Cool. Rick Nelson says, I switched over to Amazon Flex and Postmates to survive. That's awesome. Love the fact that you switched gears in a different direction. That's awesome. It's Moo says, artificial intelligence will change our economies. Very much so. You know, robots replacing people, AI replacing people, AI replacing call centers. Everything's automated, right? Asking a question on the phone, AI answers you, digs in the database, comes back with a reply. I mean, that's the direction we're going. And Japan is way, way ahead in that game. Way ahead in the field of robotics and AI. Thumbs up, 30. Can I get a few more? I'm going to get out here. Next topic is going to be a little bit more uplifting, right? These are rather depressing topics that people are not tipping us, and that Trip is scamming people. We'll go and really pick a nice, uplifting, positive live feed for the next session, right? Yeah. This thing at 6 o'clock tonight, I may do at the Rideshare Driving School channel, just to people that don't have access to Trip. I have access to sort of Trip through the back end because I did sign up there because I wanted. So I'm on their mailing list. So hopefully they don't block me. But you know, that's one of the reasons why I signed up, is to get all the juice, all the juicy stories, right? Ryan LaGrossa says, I started doing DoorDash from Uber Lyft, and the tips are significant here in Colorado. Previously, Uber Lyft riders really tipped as a whole in the last year. Yeah. Well, those tips, sadly, will die down a lot once the pandemic. My guess is like July, end of July, right? Beginning of August. Maybe people can head out there and start driving again. The tips will then dip down. The people understand right now, let me rephrase that. Some people understand the value of the true soldiers on the front line right now, and they tip them. Other people will keep on exploiting, right? Or taking advantage of the system. Mark Rowden, got the shades on. Where's my shades? And guys, if you can, get your hands. These are available on Amazon. These are medical gloves. I paid probably 3 times the asking price, but they came. These are N95 masks, very hard to get. But if you can get yourself a cloth, you know, even get yourself a cloth. Payment, that's because Uber and Lyft promotes a story that suggests that drivers are not valuable. Interesting angle to look at. That is because Uber and Lyft promotes a story that suggests that drivers are not valuable. Yeah. I think so. It's not like that even. I think the story, like you say, sort of speaks for itself, right? It's the actions that they take that creates the story, right? They're not out there and saying, we're doing this, this, and this. I mean, the story to me is really baiting people, sucking the max out of them, and spitting them out because they're replaceable. So we can write a lot of stories. I mean, I have my story. Payman, you have your story. Ryan has his story. Wicked Hustle Guy has his story. We all have a story. The question is, are we going to return back to the story after the pandemic, right? Or is it like once bitten, twice shy, and not going back? I keep on quoting Mark Cuban here, but he says companies will be judged by the way they treated their workforce, their laborers during the pandemic, right? The question is if we return to the story. Oh, Payman Ali says, but we know that AI never picked up a single person. Right, and I'm not necessarily bringing AI, artificial intelligence, into the rideshare business, because that's all a new game. But, you know, in factories and warehouses worldwide, there's a lot of AI, call centers, there's a lot of AI going on. And true, software never picked anyone up either. But that's now, that's 2020, right? Let's have that same conversation in 2030, in 10 years' time. Look very, very different. But yes, you're right. Sign of the times, I would agree on both of those. Payment says the Uber directors are from the software sector. Abstract Echo, Payment, Harley Wright, even CLO Tony West even said drivers were never part of the core of our business. Yeah, we're a tech company. We're not a transporting company. That they converted that language at a very convenient time, right? When the heat was on them, when the AB5 was on them, because they were out there and saying, "Hey, we have they're on record. We have almost every segment of the transportation company covered: boats, helicopters, little submarines in Australia, cars, luxury cars, SUVs, every form you could think of, drones." And then when it got really, really hot and they were running into all of these legal problems, you saw them spinning the verbiage. We're not a transportation company, we're a tech company. One has to replay those recordings from a year prior, 2 years prior. They were definitely on record in numerous talk shows that they were a transportation company. I do think they understand transportation very well, Payman. I think they do understand how to use tech and software to exploit transportation. It's not a difficult formula. Taxis have been around forever. They're just reinventing the taxi and bringing the phone in. That's all they're doing. It's like a taxi with a phone, an app, right? Driver, passenger, beginning location, end location. It's always been there, right? They understand the transportation very well. They understand how to exploit that transportation sector based on their tech, on their software know-how. I don't know if we're on the same page or we're talking past each other, but I enjoy having the discussions with Payman because he brings a lot of thought and a lot of ideas to the table. Ed Steigelmeier. Hi, my friends. How are you? Correct. I would 100% agree with that. They are using software to kill small business. They will look at the trucking sector, trucking transport, then they will use the software. How do we shut that down and take that market share away? They look at the taxi sector. How do we shut taxis down in London and take over that sector? Yes, by outsmarting them with the software, right? Because that's who they are. I mean, they're a Palo Alto tech company, right? Call themselves. Richard Ortega's in the house. Good evening. Abstract Echo Jimmy says Uber stated that they were a technology company, not a transportation company. Correct. You started using the wording and change. Even if you go to the hub, if you look up the hub, Los Angeles hub, it'll say Los Angeles, whatever, Uber, a tech company. They changed all the wording in 2019 to circumvent, right, the problems that they were running into. But you listen to the conversations 2 or 3 years ago, they're on record, they're talking about we're a transportation company. We have every segment of the transportation industry covered. The winner takes it all. Yeah, what do you guys think? Amit brought up a good one here. He says, did you see the new Uber ad asking people not to ride? I mean, what's that all about? What is that all about? Please don't ride, people. But meanwhile, hey, drivers, go out there, right? Stay out there. ABBA. I quote a lot of ABBA. I do indeed. Yeah, okay. I mean, we've had interesting, as far as this topic goes, we've had some interesting feedback. Some people said 15%. I'm of the opinion the starting point should be 30% tip and higher. From there onwards, higher. But people have been all over the map as far as what tips should look like. And we have in the house somebody from Chicago. His name is Rich Steinhausen. We welcome you. Chicago, stay safe. What's the weather up there like? Somebody said this morning it was drizzling. Chris Sereneki says, crazy because taxi drivers get tipped even in the filthiest of cars. Yeah, it's because anyone that orders a taxi probably took a taxi 10 years ago and knows that a taxi driver will literally almost not let you out the car unless he gets some sort of tip. They'll make you feel bad, trust me. I've always tipped taxi drivers I'm not taking them anymore. You know, some taxi drivers thought they could take me for a wild ride if I was in a new city, right? Thinking, but like you got to be street smart, right? Am I done? Almost. %25% to be conservative. Expert's choice. Uber created a culture of no tip. Right, and then like for the food delivery people right now, they bring out an idea and educate the people that are ordering the food. Hey, we set up a restaurant fund. It blows my mind, right? Tip the restaurant employees. That's not going to make the drivers happy. That's going to alienate your workforce. Who is behind these ideas? Uber did create a culture of no tip. I mean, Lyft was way ahead of them, right? They automatically came out the gate and said, tipping is Uber, we had to pound them for years before they brought out tipping. My friends, we're coming up to 1 hour and 30 minutes. I will be ending it here fairly soon. We have 35. If we can smash the like button, get it up to 40, I'd really appreciate you guys. We have Pittsburgh in the house. We welcome Douglas M. Good to see Expert's Choice. I had to flush ECBS TV because of his vulgar remarks. They won't fly here. We'll shut you down. I didn't even want to expose his messages because they were so vulgar. So we just, boom, we shut him down right there and then. The flash, right? ECBS TV. ECBS TV. Flushed. So we had one little troll. That's what happens if you're a troll in this house. Exactly. Expert's Choice said Lyft had great commercials against Uber's no-tip culture. Yeah, they won a lot of friends by, Eddie says spray him, exactly. Spray him now. Where's my spray, dude? I don't have my spray right now. Oh, I do have this bug spray here. Spray him down. We're on 39. Uno, por favor. Eins bitte. One more like. We're on 40. I'll be happy. And we have 2.5 minutes countdown. And then it's lunchtime. Eddie says, there you go. I did that for you, Eddie. Sprayed him down. Bug spray is good for headlights on the fly. Guys are One thing I can always count on during a live feed is getting a lot of good laughs. You know, it's healthy. You know, if people. Eddie says we have enough trolls and issues. We don't need any more. Laughing my ass off. Cool. Thank you, Eddie. Eddie Cuevas. Ahmed, thank you, my friend. We're on 40. I appreciate you guys. 2-minute countdown, 120 seconds to go. I'm hungry. I think I skipped breakfast this morning. I was so, my little helper bee here says I did skip breakfast. Did I, Dana?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Do you want to say hi to the people?
Sure.
Pop your head in. Somebody just wants to say hi. She likes her face on camera.
Hello.
She's busy making lunch. Little princess. Oh, Canada says tips are demonstration of an appreciated service or extra mile for whatever service is provided. In the case of Uber, as a driver, providing great conversation and safe drive is basic service. Thank you very much. Well said, oh Canada. Have a great meal. You work hard for our rideshare community. We're going to keep on working hard together. You know, this motivates me. Topics, people sharing information, Taha coming out, outing these fools, these trip fools. This is the stuff that motivates me. Let's see. I wonder if they're still live. I doubt it.
That was a software development house, and that's why,
They
was
are.
giving money and this, that, the
They
other.
still.
Well, the evidence is there, buddy. Like, what's Taha's? What about all the? So, if you think Taha's the one who screwed you over, are you the only person that can figure this out? What about all these other people? What about? Here's my track record. Why didn't you figure that out earlier? Why didn't? I'll play this a little bit, guys. You can check this out. I'll put the link right here. I don't know if you guys know, but I was honored to be invited to become a TEDx speaker. Talk about how blockchain can be used to save lives after some of the work that I had done in Singapore. This event was sponsored by Capital One. This event was sponsored by major publications, and I gave a TEDx talk right here in Wilmington, Delaware. Right? No one figured that out. What about National Geographic? I built an application for National Geographic, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for this. So you can see this right here. This is the link that I just shared, where I'm giving a talk about how in the diving industry, I had implemented blockchain solution, right? What about right here, guys? Is in National Geographic as well as
Talking about his credentials.
This is the CEO of National Geographic Singapore.
Mark Rowden says, Danu, the TikTok professor. Calls you the TikTok professor. That's cool. She says thank you. She'll take that title, TikTok professor. You like that title, TikTok professor? Yep, she likes it.
Working about 2 weeks from the event day, and he came through for his people, said the equivalent of what you guys are doing now. They coded up to like 22 hours in a single day for weeks. So, Taha, you want to share a little bit something about what you did for us?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I think this was an amazing event, and we really wanted to get behind something like this. Because,
Cool. Well, we'll get a feed going on that trip meeting tonight. We've hit the 1 hour 30 mark. I appreciate you guys all. Any last people that haven't hit the like button, if you can do it right now.
Run it for another minute. Hold up. Oh yeah, I'll definitely run that. Hold on. Right, Professor, I'll go up to that. Let's play that right now.
The only good part about it that is we don't pay, and that they keep working.
We don't pay and they keep on working. The only good thing is we don't pay and they keep on working, says this guy. You need a shave, by the way.
The only good part about it that is we don't pay, and that they keep working. The only good part about it that is we don't pay, and that they keep working.
It's just like you can't let them.
All right, my friends, we're out of here, and we will be back tonight at Rideshare Driving School. If you haven't subscribed there, please do. Rideshare. $6 p.m. my time. I'll be doing a feed there. I want to tap into that trip stream and see what they have to say. We'll amplify Mr. McNulty. He was going to get some free exposure. Robert McNulty is going to get some free exposure on the Rideshare Professor channel. And a warning to Robert McNulty, you bring up my name, you try to defame my name in that live feed, They come after you, boy. Oh, Canada, we'll see you there. Thank you, guys. Be safe for the next few hours. Reconvene in 3 hours and 25 minutes. I'll be, if I can get in there, if I can get into that trip stream, I hope to get into that trip Zoom stream, right? I don't think I'll be able to get into that Facebook stream because they blocked me there. We will come after them. Ray from Arkansas in the house, welcome. Everyone, have a great day. Whatever you're doing, stay safe, have a great day. When you go out the house, wear your masks. You're picking up stuff, use your disinfectant spray or your gloves. Please, let's all work together. Let's get through this together. Love you all. Thank you, my friends. So there